welcome to, this is going to be a fairly short stream, potentially, but this is what would happen if EE4C, which for those of you who don't know what EE4C is, it stands for Easter Eggs for Charity, which is a zombies event that was held in 2016 and 2017 with roaring success, bringing in a total through both years of, if I'm not mistaken, over $300,000 for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. I cannot speak as I have just woken up. Okay, I didn't just wake up, but you get the idea. You get the idea. So these aren't the picks, but you'll see how this is happening. So you may be asking, first off, what is the top row of players? What is the bottom group of players? So the top row: Mr. Dalek JD, Greg FPS, Rad Austin 27, Mr. T Lexify, Mr. Awful Waffles, Smith Plays, and Noah J456. They are going to be our hypothetical captains. Now you may be wondering, why would Noah be a captain? He always hosts it. We're just gonna have me in the position of hosting it. Let's just say, for argument's sake, let's say I'm hosting it, right? Noah J also would make sense as a captain because he's hinted at it and said that he would love to do it. And I feel like Greg FPS would rather be a captain than Codename Pizza. Now, I don't know about you. If I had the choice and if I had to, I was thinking about putting Chopper as a captain as well, but Pizza doesn't seem like the type of person to be a captain. I think Chopper doesn't mind being a captain either, but I think he would just prefer to... He seems like the type of person to just let the tide bring him wherever he goes. So that's why those two aren't captains. But yeah, so here we go. With that out of the way, here's how we're going to be doing this kind of prediction / what if scenario, which is why I have it as a what if stream. So the way that 2016 worked was Mr. T Lexify, Mr. Awful Waffles, Smith Plays, and Mr. Dalek JD. They all were the captains of 2016, and they did first room challenges. In 2017, that was not the case, and also they had Reed, also known as Rad Austin 27, in that captain's group as well. So how they did that was they had Mr. T Lexify get the bye because his team won the year prior in 2016, so he got a bye week. However, in this scenario, we are also, because Team Whiteboard, which was Rad Austin 27's team at the time, won, they are also going to get a bye week. Then it's going to be Lex, because Lex's team came in second. And then, if I'm not mistaken, let me take a look just to be 100% sure. I should have done this last night, but, you know. Or before I started to stream. Let me take a look at their Twitter and see if they have the results posted on there, which would be great. Alright, so Dalek got third, which means they're going to be next added onto the rotation. So These 4 would be the first 4 competing in any competition. For me, I'm not going to say the competitions really matter, but it really, let's just say, hypothetically, that we start off by doing the, let's do the G-Strike grenades again. Milo and Pat had done it before. Noah J watched it, and Greg has not done it in this type of setting. But Greg has paid attention to EE4C. This is where the predictions start to actually come around, and I am going to be doing a lot of strategy talk with it. Noah's main focus, as he said in the past, was not necessarily to snake people, but I can definitely see him doing it during the draft picks. So when we get there, I'll explain more in depth. Noah said he would play very, not aggressively, but would try to screw other people over rather than benefiting himself and focusing on his stuff. So Noah most likely would want to knock out either Milo or Pat really early on. He knows that's Greg's first time. He doesn't want to screw him over yet. And Pat's Pat, so I don't think Pat's going to lose his map. Milo, yes, is going to be more careful with how he plays it. Will probably buy Jug. So what Noah would do is he would train a bunch of zombies or take the Panzer, lead it to Milo, and just leave Milo to fend for himself, knocking Milo down and thus not being able to get the G-strikes, which is why he is going to pick last. Now, this is going to be based on the scenario from 2017, where once you lose, you get knocked out, and that's where you get the choice to pick. So, for example, because let's just say Lex comes in first again in this captain's draft scenario. He would get to choose whether he wants to pick first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, or last. And then it'll just go down the line to Milo, who would get whatever was left. So, Dalek comes in. Now let's say it's the Shadows of Evil one getting the swords. Noah and Pat would definitely play it silently. Dalek watched this before, knows that Noah is a snake, so he's going to try to outsnake Noah, and that's not going to happen. Greg is Greg, so he's off doing his own thing, getting his eggs filled. And I think Pat and Noah make it out once again, leaving it down to Dalek and Greg. I don't think either one necessarily goes down, but I think Greg gets the luckier spawns, and thus Dalek is going to go into that next spot. Now, this isn't the draft order as well, by the way, so we're going to be doing that strategy later. Dalek's upset. He really wants to get Codename Pizza, but knowing everyone else, that might not and probably won't happen, but we'll see how it plays out. Now, this is where Lex joins the fray. Now, since there are there's another challenge that requires 4 players, I decided I decided to go back, and we're going to go back into Origins. It's not G-Strike grenades, but if you are the last person to hold a staff, you lose. This is where I think things get interesting, because all 4 could very well do it, it just depends on how Noah plays it. Because I think Pat goes for... I think Pat would be going for ice or wind. Noah and Lex would probably be vying for the same thing. But I also think Greg would be like, no one's going for the lightning staff. So he talks to Lex because naturally he wouldn't want to work with Noah, who's a snake, and Pat's map is Origins, so Greg would want to work with Lex, whose teams did very well both times, basically winning both times anyway. So Greg tells Lex, you want to do lightning staff with me? I will let you pick up the staff if you do it with me. And each person would have to hold a different staff, so Lex says, I'm in. So they go around the map collecting the lightning staves or the lightning staff parts, while Noah and Pat go for the ice and the wind. Because fire takes until round 8, and you could probably get enough done. You could probably get lightning staff before Panzer. I say probably, but it's not definite, because gobblegums aren't allowed. So that'll probably play a factor in it. So Lex gets lightning. And Greg is a man of his word. This will come into play later. Pat gets to wind. Then it leaves Noah and Greg FPS. Noah was too busy trying to snake Pat because he does want to try and snake Lex and Reed. Noah likes a challenge, so he's gonna try to knock out Pat, who isn't really known for snaking anybody and just wants Greg around for later because it's Greg's first rodeo in EE4C. So technically it's Noah's too, but you get where I'm going here. So Noah's busy snaking Pat that he realizes he only picked up 2 of the ice staff parts as it switches to round 8. So now it becomes a race between Greg and Noah to get the fire staff. Greg realizes the opportunity and does Gen 6 after Lex grabs that last lightning staff part and gets the third part, or the last part for it. Goes down to the fire staff room, grabs the gem, and is making his way to the staff locations where you build it in the Undercroft. And Greg FPS knocks out Noah J 4-5-6 from competition. So now Reed hops in. And we do something a little more interesting. And we go back to 2016 and do a first room challenge. So whoever goes down first loses. The map, Gorod Crovy. So you have Lex, Pat, Reed, Greg. I think this is where Greg does go down. I don't think... You know, it just kind of happened by circumstance. Lex and, like, all the training spots were coming together, and Greg just is caught off in the wrong position, therefore leaving him exposed and getting 4th. Now we go back to the classics. So Lex, Pat, and Reed. Going to DE to Pack. This is where things get interesting, because Pat remembers last year. Obviously, Milo would remember last year, but he's not partaking in it. I say last year, meaning 2017, but last time this happened. Yeah, I know Conway and JC's YouTube icons are different in Avery's and basically everyone's, but that's besides the point. So, let me put my phone over there just so that I'm not distracted by it, because, you know, totally professional streamer over here. Why am I putting in Black Ops 3? I should not be doing that. Let me change it to just chatting real quick. Oh no, I need to turn down desktop audio. I turned off desktop audio, boys. Channel. Let me go here and change this into just chatting. There we go. Okay. Let me close that out. Alright. So, we are in just chatting now. Thank goodness. So, EE4C 2020. We got Lex, Pat, and Reed. Reed and Lex remember 2017 like it was yesterday. Both of them worked together to knock out Milo. But sadly, this year is not the year for one of these two. Not in terms of the actual event, but of, you know, making it together. Pat makes a very interesting call and tries to snake Lex and Reed by going upstairs. Lex notices but doesn't tell Reed and starts to open up the bottom way. So as Lex is running with Reed downstairs, Pat's running upstairs and is already going to be at the Undercroft. So, once power gets turned on, the church opens and Pat immediately runs downstairs. Lex and Reed are together, but Lex knows that Pat's going to be at that underside. So Pat teleports. And as Reed is running downstairs, Lex waits at the the Wonder Sphere by the electric trap, the death ray, as we call it. And Lex, because Pat activates it once he gets there, Lex flies on over. Pat packs first, Lex packs second, and Reed loses. Now it's just down to Lex and Pat on Moon in a 1v1. Lex managed to win it last time. Can he do it again? The answer is yes. Lex is able to get to 50 kills. Pat put up a valiant effort, putting up 45. But ultimately, Lex was able to get those last couple of kills in before Pat. Thereby having Lex as champion once again. Now, when there were 5 people, Lex liked the idea of picking second. But now he's been entertaining the idea of picking third or maybe even fourth. So Lex talks to Chad after a while and decides he's going to pick third. Which now leaves a lot of ideas and room open for Pat. As much as Pat would love to pick up, say, like Avery, Matt, and Chucky, he knows that's just not going to be feasible. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe Pat and Lex go on a little Canadian pact. In a different call. Because with 7 people, there's going to be a lot of politicking and trying to get the picks that you want. So Pat decides to pick last. He's banking on the fact that Lex provided the correct information and will give... Actually, no. Pat picks fourth. As much as Pat wants to pick multiple times in a row, he knows that it would be way too risky with the amount of people. Therefore, he's going to pick there. Reed isn't very happy, but does entertain the idea that he can get a nice little double wraparound. So he is going to pick after Pat at 5th. Guaranteeing that Pat will most likely pick either Avery or Matt. And Lex probably won't pick any of the players Reed wants. So on the wraparound, he can probably get 2 pro for you, but isn't 100% sure. Greg now has a tough choice because he either can be one of the first 2 to pick or one of the last 2. And Greg being Greg, he knows that Mr. Dalek would love to pick first. And Noah is probably going to try and snake picks from Lex or Pat. Therefore, Noah would probably take either 2nd or 6th. So Greg says, you know what, I'm going to go last. I get that wraparound and everything will be okay. Noah almost instinctively chooses to go 2nd there. And now Lex is like, oh man, I knew it was going to happen, but I had to do it. Dalek valiantly picks the first spot, and Milo picks last. So with that being said, Mr. Dalek JD gets the first pick, and his first pick is Codename Pizza. A very obvious choice, but a good choice regardless. So this is where Noah has trouble, because he knows Lex has plans A, B, and C planned out. If Noah picks Chopper JC, Lex could just pick the latter. He could get blindsided and pick either Smart Guy, Frenzy, Conway, or Fantastical. And overall, Lex is smiling because he knows he put himself in a position where no matter what, he still gets a solid pick to spite Noah. So Noah thinks about it and says, you know what, I'm going to take Smart Guy, which is a huge pick for Noah, as Lex is a bit surprised. Now Lex has a choice. He has a lot of friends on this list, so it's very interesting that Lex is in this position. So his first pick is going to be Frenzy. Because he knows Milo will most likely pick someone like Frenzy or Steve in the first round. And has accepted the fact that Chopper and or JC will probably be gone anyway. Pat is Pat, so naturally he's going to deliberate on if he wants to pick Avery first or wants to pick Matt first. He picks Avery. And now it moves on to Reed. Now Reed's in an interesting spot as well, because on this list, the team he had the year prior was Queen, Q Knight, Z, and 2 Pro For You games. This could still happen. So he goes for Quinn right off the bat. Everyone knows he wants Quinn, and everyone knows that they did very well last year, so Reed is most likely going to go for the same setup. Which now leaves Milo in a very, very happy position, as he is about to snake Reed. By taking 2 Pro For You games. So with 2 Pro For You games off the board, Reed is very upset. He wasn't expecting Milo to play the Snake, but here we are playing Snake. Now Greg is interested in these picks, as he enjoys a lot of these players. And because he has the double wraparound, he's going to pick twice. Therefore, his first pick is Turbo. And the second pick see, this is where it gets tricky, because I feel like Greg would pick Chopper, but I could definitely see him picking someone like Tim plus Johnny, Joe Met, which, for those of you who don't know who Joe Met 123 is, he's a part of Ninja Nation, and because Ninja Nation is a group and not just one player, I decided I'm going to take whoever was most active recently, or rather who is the most active in terms of zombies, and put them in. So I feel like Greg is going to go for Chopper here, because I think the chemistry here is what Greg is going for. He just wants to have a chill game, wants some good vibes. Now, Milo becomes evil and is asking Reed. We're also basing this on the fact that Milo and Reed come back and Glitching Queen comes back for EE4C 2020. It's literally all it is. And a lot of these other people. I was thinking about tossing in Iowa Gaming and a couple of other people in there. I know relaxing end would totally, or as much as everyone's like, why wouldn't you have relaxing end? I think relaxing end is most certainly okay with not having his voice be heard at all. But here we go. Milo becomes evil and talks to Reed, says, listen, Reed. I took one of your boys. So here's what you can do to prevent that. And tries to come up with some way to sway Reed into picking a different player. But Milo ends up just picking Steve instead. McMuffin, stop it! McMuffin, no! That's not healthy for you. That's not healthy for you, baby. Okay, so let me move these players over a little bit so that you can tell, like, these aren't the picks, but Reed is now leaning down and decides, I'm gonna pick up Lagan. I think Lagan would be a great addition to our squad, and manages to pick him up. Surprisingly, Milo did not pick JC, or Chopper for that matter. But here he is with 2 Pro for you and Steve at the moment. Reed says, you know what? I'll take Lagan. I think he's good and we can definitely vibe. Pat is so happy that Matt was not picked yet and gladly takes Matt. Lex is surprised at how this went down and decides he knows Noah's gonna try and snake him again, so he's gonna go with his boy, Joey Conway. Now Noah is surprised by this because he expected Lex to pick JC. So this is where Noah starts to, I don't want to say overthink it, but that's exactly what would happen. So he's going to pick Fantastical to try and counter that. And on the way back, he's going to pick JC. Which is fine because Lex had a plan. Now, since Dalek gets 2 picks, he manages to pick up Pack-a-Puncher. And we'll round it out with Glitching Queen. He doesn't really know. Well, never mind. Ignore what I just almost put out there. Now Noah is going to take JC out of Lex's hands. Lex is like, that's fine because I'm picking Tim Hansen. This is Pat's dream as he takes Chucky. Reed has a couple of options here and decides to take plus Johnny. Milo takes Joe Met. And Greg is left with Johnny J25. Now, the reason why Joe Met was so low was because I'm not 100% sure if Joe Met has played with any of the captains, or if any of the captains know who Joe Met is. Obviously, they know about Ninja Nation, so they probably know who Joe Met is. And that is how I think it's going to go down in terms of draft. Now, Mr. Dalek JD has, I mean, all these teams are really solid, let's be honest here, but Dalek goes for picks that he knows will help him out as well. And the chemistry that him and Codename Pizza have is off the charts, so really taking anyone else in is just an added bonus for Dalek. And I believe Dalek had Glitching Queen on his team before, if I'm not mistaken. Because Glitching Queen was on Team Whiteboard, and then the year prior, I think he was with, I think he picked Queen. Yeah, so she was with Milo, and I believe it was Team Ozoths. Wow. The first time, I think. Because Team Buried 2 was Dalek, Pizza, Liam, I don't remember. But anyway, my cat is scratching the post. That's fine. Noah J just picked to snake out Lex. But Lex had the backup plan. Lex had JC off his list after round 1. Ideally, Lex would have wanted to get Smart Guy, Frenzy, and either JC or Conway. But he was able to get 2 out of the 3, which is fine. And he's like, you know what? Tim's my boy. So they go together. And also, Noah J and JC have been playing a lot together recently. And Smart Guy and Fantastical bring the good vibes as well. And they will most likely work together as a team very well. Lex has a team that's... you know it's a Lex team when you see Joey Conway and or Frenzy. Tim Hansen is an added bonus for Lex because, listen, Tim's been on the grind. He's been doing an amazing job, so Tim's gonna definitely be that good pick to round out Lex's squad of Team Full Weeb Part 3. Pat got everybody he wanted: Avery, Matt, and Chucky. Reed took Quinn first, then Lagan, and plus Johnny, who is also a pretty good zombies player. So they have a very solid team as well. Milo has 2 Pro for you, who was on the winning team in 2017. Steve was on the 3rd place team, I think. No. I believe Steve and Milo were on the same team in 2017. And then Joe Met is that added bonus because Joe Met's also been on that grind. So, good stuff. And then Greg FPS taking the likes of Turbo and Chopper, securing 2 very solid players, and then taking Johnny J because it's the meme. But yeah, if I were to be somewhere on this list, I would probably be where, like, I think I would honestly be with Greg. I think Johnny J, like, let's say we took out either Plus Johnny or Joe Met. I think Joe Met, I don't think they would stick with the meme if I was in here. And that's only because I've only recently have gotten back into the zombies community, and they haven't obviously seen me at all, so it only makes sense that if I were there. Plus I have experience with casting, like, actual, like, leagues. They're not big leagues, but they're leagues regardless. So I think being on the hosting side of it would be very, very good. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this what if scenario for the draft of EE4C 2020. I personally think it is. I think I could see all these teams shaking out, because as much as Noah would have loved to snake Dalek by picking someone like. Really, the only way to snake Dalek is if Liam was playing again and you had Codename Pizza, because if that was the case, Noah would have snaked Dalek by picking Liam. Dalek then probably still has the same team, and then Noah would have to make a choice between JC and Fantastical, and maybe even Tim. And would probably end up picking JC because they've been playing together a lot. And then Lex would probably end up having a very similar, if not the same team. So yeah, that's how I think it would go down. I think this is a very, I don't want to say accurate, but a very good draft prediction if 2020 were to happen. And that's basing it on the fact that Noah plays and Greg accepts the role as captain. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. I knew it was gonna be a very short stream, but here we are. And yeah, I'm gonna be uploading this soon. Have a great rest of your day, guys.